Presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX.
That's a new personal best pike here.
Now here's your host, Bret Amundson.
That's right, and it's not just a radio show anymore. In fact, we might have to change that intro to Hunt, Fish, Watch, Repeat. Thank you for watching this on Facebook, YouTube, or maybe you're listening to it on this radio station right here. Thank you very much. Or downloading the podcast. Any way that you're watching / listening to this, we're very appreciative. Thank you very much. That's Dan Amundson right over there. Dan, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Look how much better this works when we're actually recording. People can actually watch us.
Yeah. No David this week. David Eckhart is off this week, getting paid more at his real job. So David will be back next week, I'm sure. So thank you for tuning in. We got a lot to get to. The Gould Brothers are here with us. What have they been up to? Well, they've been doing some hunting. Of course, they've been filming some trick shots. These guys are just good people. They're fun to talk to. And if you've never seen them perform live, you have to see these guys shoot in person. And there is the opportunity to watch them put on a live exhibition in person this weekend. And we'll find out from them when and where you can do that here in just a couple of minutes. Joe Henry talks about what conditions might be for the opener up at Lake of the Woods and what you can expect for a fishing opener at Lake of the Woods. And Erik Osberg breaks down how to choose the resort or lodge that's right for you. If you're trying to plan a new trip, maybe to say Otter Tail Lakes Country, where there's 1,000 some lakes and a bunch of different resorts, and they all have different options. So what are you looking for? A straight up fishing trip? Are you looking to bring the young kids? Are you looking for a pet friendly place? You want to do some golfing while you're there? He'll tell us how you can break down and the different resorts there and how you can find the one that's right for you. Dan, who are our sponsors this week?
Yeah, this week we've got Haybale Heights Campground and Resort. Book a trip to Devil's Lake. Learn more at haybaleheights.com. Otter Tail Lakes Country. Find your inner otter at ottertaillakescountry.com. Lake of the Woods Tourism. Lake of the Woods is the walleye capital. Plan a trip for this summer at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. Camp Grayling. Catch the Grand Slam, lake trout, pike, grayling, and walleye. Fish Camp Grayling in Saskatchewan this summer. OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. Mid-Migration Outfitters. Come hunt waterfowl out of heated 10-man pits and comfortable blinds. Learn more at midmigrationoutfitters.com. And Prairie Sportsman. The new season is underway. Watch episodes on the new Prairie Sportsman YouTube channel or check your TV guide for local air times.
Nice job.
That was easily the best one that's happened in probably 2 months.
You done good, kid.
Thanks.
Brand new Prairie Sportsman. Just a couple episodes left of the new season. If you're watching it on Pioneer PBS or on our YouTube channel, we got 2 episodes left. This week, we did some wild edible foraging with Nicole Zempel. Everything's a little late this year, so we had a bunch of plans for doing some foraging, and just nothing is really growing. But Nicole said, hey, I got some things I can show you. So there's Cindy Dorn, our producer, and Dylan Kerfman. They spent some time with Nicole in the woods here recently, and we're going to show you that footage and show you that show coming up this weekend. Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. on Pioneer PBS or on the YouTube channel for Prairie Sportsman. And then our final episode will be May 8th. That's a turkey hunt with Corey Loeffler that I filmed last year with Corey, and it was a pretty wild hunt, and it's fun to watch a call maker make his own. He doesn't make and sell turkey calls, but he made his own turkey call, and we get to see him use it and listen to the noises that he makes on it. It's pretty wild. So watch that May 8th on Pioneer PBS or the Prairie Sportsman YouTube channel. As a matter of fact, this week we did go on a big old trip with Corey. Corey and I jumped in a vehicle and headed south, just like we did last year with the new Sitka Nodak system, that white snow goose suit that Sitka put out. They got a new turkey suit, turkey gear that's got permethrin built into it. It's got insect shield, so it's to protect you from ticks and other biting critters that are going to be out there. It would be nice if it was like rattlesnake proof too.
You know, that's probably coming next year. Oh, you just ruined their plans. Way to go.
Not a fan of snakes. But Corey and I headed down to Missouri, Kansas, a bunch of other states, chase some turkeys around. We've got the new Sitka stuff. We've also got some Boss 410 loads. So we're going to test out some Boss 410 shells and the new Equinox system from Sitka and use OnX to find some land. We're going to be chasing down some birds on some private stuff, but we're also going to be chasing them down on some public stuff. So we're going to be using OnX as we go to find some turkeys along the way and filming it all for you. And you'll be able to watch probably some of that footage next week here on the show. Can't wait. It's going to be a good time. All right. I'm hoping too to film some wicked turkey footage. I filmed a few turkey hunts. I've yet to get some real good like turkeys, some toms putting on a show, beating up the decoy, stuff like that. I did get sent this video from Mike Lasaki. He sent me this video from a recent turkey hunt, which I thought was pretty cool. Just beating up that decoy. And in exchange for sending us footage, if you send us some footage that we use here on the show, we'll get you $25 to use at the spot. That's so cool.
Gosh, when it gets to that point, it just gets a little weird.
Yeah.
And it deserves to have an arrow or a shotgun hit him in the face.
I don't know. I mean, that's a problem, though. You know, I know that for a lot of people, they want to see this show, right? So you want to see it. So do you just let it play out for a while, or do you just shoot them right away and get it over with? It's so much fun to watch. You know, I like shooting turkeys, but I love watching wildlife interact with each other and put on a show like this.
Well, do we have to put a new rating on this episode now? Turkey in the back?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, Mike, thanks for sending that to us. For sending us that footage and us using it in the show, we'll get you $25 to the Sporting Journal Radio store that you can find at sportingjournalradio.com. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the Gould Brothers. Don't go anywhere.
Northern Minnesota's Walleye Factory is a year-round world-class fishing destination. The perfect getaway this summer is just a short drive to Lake of the Woods. Fish Big Traverse Bay, the Rainy River, or visit the unique Northwest Angle. To catch big fish, you have to go where the big fish are. Plan your trip to Lake of the Woods at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. That's lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
All right, well, I always enjoy talking to these guys. They're just great human beings. They're great shooters. They've really built a great business around shooting. It's the Gould Brothers. Aaron and Steve Gould joining us now here on the show. How you guys doing?
Doing good, Bret. Good to be with you.
It's been fun to watch you guys grow your brand and what you guys do. And with the Gould Brothers YouTube channel, 215,000 subscribers. That's amazing, guys.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey. It's been a fun ride.
Because I'm trying to remember, because you guys I'm not gonna say you kind of got your start when Tom Knapp passed away, and I'm trying to remember what year that was. How many years ago was that now?
Well, we originally saw Tom Knapp perform live in 2009 at the Reed's Gun Fair at Rice Creek, which is coming up this weekend. In fact, so that's where we were inspired, and it was a couple of years after that Tom passed away. So what year was it, Aaron? 9, 10, 11, 12?
13?
Yeah.
Spring of 13,
Yep.
I believe he passed away.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, bad deal. But it's been fun to watch you guys have success, and 3 YouTube channels now. Explain what you guys can see, what we can see on your different YouTube channels.
Yeah, so the Gould Brothers channel is known for trick shots. You got Aaron and I, our love for exhibition shooting, trick shots. We will take just about any type of firearm or weapon and try to pull off some type of fun, interesting trick shot. And then our individual channels are just a little bit different from the sense that, think he hits it? You think he hits it right there? Playing card out of the air, hand thrown? Okay, that's a little clickbait, but I
bet he does.
You gotta make thumbnails nice. Our individual channels are a little bit different. They're not really focused on trick shots. They're more focused on education, information. So mine is Target Focused Life, and it focuses on shotguns. So I do a lot of shotgun reviews and shotgun focused videos. And then Aaron's channel, I'll let him tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my channel is The Common Patriot, and I'm focusing a little bit more on rifles, from ARs to your standard hunting rifles, as well as pistols and personal defense. So we've kind of split our channels up a little bit in what we do, and Steve's on the shotgun side, I'm more on the rifle pistol side, and it's just been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Steve, I just want to go in that room behind you, over your shoulder there, I just need 30 seconds in there. Just leave me alone in there.
Anytime. Just don't take the ammo. You can't see the ammo. Don't take the ammo. I don't know when I'm getting the next shipment from Federal, but most of the guns are Reed, so whatever you want to take, they'll track you down.
That's funny. So, yeah, we should talk about Reed's real quick, because their annual gun fair is coming up at Rice Creek again this weekend. How many years have you guys been a part of that?
Oh
gosh, what a question. Yeah, go Aaron, you answer.
We've been a part of it since, I want to say around 2012. Other than 1 year in there that we had something else scheduled on top of it, we've been there. Obviously, the last couple of years, they haven't had the gun fair with the craziness that's went on the last couple of years. So we're excited to be back there. It's an awesome event. It's a try and buy event that, man, I grew up 25 miles from it. I didn't even know it existed, but now it's kind of one of those things that everybody should be out there and trying those guns out, having fun. There's a lot of other things to do besides just shoot guns, but I mean, come on, we all need a few more guns in our gun safe.
Yeah, that's right. Are you guys going to be doing a exhibition there?
Yeah, we'll be doing an exhibition Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So the 29th, 30th, and May 1st at 1 p.m. every day of Reed's Gun Fair.
What do you? Is there anything new there that you're kind of excited about this year?
Well, I guess I don't know if there's anything new. You know, they've got everything there from Rice Creek. They got the sporting clays that you can do. Obviously, lots of the main vendors from the outdoor industry will be there trying out their new firearms. You got Reed's, you can buy your guns.
What's new on the firearm side, Aaron? What's new on the rifle or pistol side? You got anything that maybe you shot or that you want to shoot that is kind of new?
Well, I mean,
first time for people to shoot.
When I heard, sorry, Steve, from what I heard, they're going to have the new FN 502. I've been shooting that a little bit this spring when the weather's been nice enough. That's a 22 training pistol. It's kind of mimicked after the FN 509. So that's a really cool one that's going to be out there. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that will be out there that a lot of us haven't seen yet.
What about on the shotgun side, Steve?
Oh man, why did I see how I asked Aaron? That was so you wouldn't put me on the spot.
Well, you had a little time to figure it out.
I believe Benelli has announced they have a 28 gauge in the 828U, which is their over-under shotgun. I definitely want to check that out. I've just started doing over-under reviews on my channel. I've reviewed the 828U 12 gauge. It's not out yet. But definitely I always like to get my hands on new shotguns, try different things. So I'm looking forward to going not only just to perform at this event, but also to get my hands on guns that I haven't shot yet and just send a few rounds downrange, you know?
Well, thankfully the weather is starting to improve around here. Otherwise, you could have dunked a bunch of shotguns underwater and froze them and done a whole display right there at Rice Creek next weekend.
Oh man, it is. It's a tough time of year, just mentally to get through this. You know, you think spring's just around the corner. Aaron and I have spent several weeks down south, so we've got to experience a taste of warmer weather. And you come back, you're like, it's right around the corner, and then we just continue to get snow, wind, gray days, and but sooner or later it's got to warm up, right?
Yeah.
Summer's got to come.
Well, I've seen. I know you guys do a lot of different demonstrations and trick shots and things like that, but what you did by freezing those guns, I thought that was a brilliant idea.
I don't know if brilliant is the term, but the amount of damage that I caused to those guns, broke a few pieces, you know, whatever. It was a learning experience for me, I can tell you that much. But it was a lot of fun just to see how these guns would hold up under the most extreme conditions, having water dumped in the actions of them, freezing them solid, and then trying to get them back up and running again.
But I mean, that's the kind of stuff, though, that, you know, as a waterfowl hunter, I don't know how many times I've dunked my gun inadvertently. I don't know how many times out there, if I've got any sort of oil in my gun and it's cold out, things have frozen up. So, you know, it may have been a bit of an extreme test, but it's almost kind of one of those real world tests where you're like, gosh, I'd really like to know how durable that gun's going to be if I put it through some pretty harsh conditions. I thought it was great.
Right. Yeah, well, it was a lot of fun, and you know, it's that concept of when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So when Minnesota gives you extreme cold, long winters, you figure out ways to make videos. Still, I don't know.
Anything surprise you with that?
I was surprised how easy the Stoger and the Benelli Super Black Eagle 3, how the charging handles or the bolt handles broke off so easily.
Yeah.
The Winchester SX4 honestly surprised me how well, actually that was the gas gun, right? The SX4 is the gas gun, and the Franke Affinity 3 was the inertia gun. I was surprised that the two lower budget guns compared to some of the other ones out there were the ones that actually seemed to perform the best.
Yeah, like I said, those are the interesting types of demonstrations that you don't see very often. And that would be on the Target Focus Life YouTube channel, or where?
Yep.
That's where you can find that one. All right. What's that, Aaron?
I was going to say something we're doing a little bit different on some of our Gould Brothers videos this year is we're not only incorporating trick shots, but Steve and I are also taking, say, different guns. We did the Franke Affinity 3, correct, Steve? And we do some trick shots with it, but then we also give our interpretation or our thoughts on it after. So you can get a little bit of that too on the Gould Brothers. We're kind of mixing that in. So instead of just a straight trick shot video, this year a lot of it is you're getting a little bit of information, not a full review, but you're also getting the trick shots and then, Steve and I's take. And sometimes if I'm bringing the gun, Steve hasn't shot it before the day we're out filming, and vice versa. So it really gives the one person, it's like, I haven't used this gun, I haven't pointed this gun, and it kind of gives a little bit more of that raw feeling to some of that stuff.
Some of the tricks you guys come up with, how do you guys come up with these things, and what's been one of your favorite trick shots that you've done?
Well, I mean,
boredom is how you come up with it. Like, hey, I'm sick of being in the office. How can I daydream about doing something completely off the wall? What's been your favorite, Aaron, so far, do you think?
Honestly, I like the long distance clay shots that we've done, and that was kind of one that, like, how can we push the envelope a little bit? How can we hit a 4-inch disc flying through the air at 200 and then 300 and 400 and 500? And the last one we did was 600 yards.
Unreal.
And even if you have an MOA rifle or even something that's shooting half MOA, you're shooting a moving clay disc out of the air at 600 yards. Those are really interesting and fun for me because I like rifle shooting, but also, there's a lot of technicality that goes into just setting up a shot like that.
Yeah, that's insane. That's crazy. What did you guys got some things in the works? Anything you can tell us about? Some new trick shots coming out?
Oh, we're day by day right here, Bret. We're just, the new trick shot for today will be figured out in about 30 minutes. Yeah, haven't had a lot of shooting on the mind, honestly. It's been so dang miserable here in Minnesota. We have shot some videos down south, and we've worked on a few things, but yeah, hasn't been a lot of shooting on the mind, so we'll make it up as we go.
Well, I guess the one thing that we do have on the schedule coming up is the CMMG Banshee 4.6x30 trick shot video that we'll be shooting here in a couple weeks. So that should be a lot of fun.
I don't have any ideas yet.
Well,
something to look forward to anyway. We'll watch for it.
Yeah.
Turkey season is here, so that's probably been a bit of a focus. I know, Steve, you actually traveled. So I went to Florida for the first time this year. I was down there right at the beginning of February for a Shimano deal, and was with some guys, some of the Bass Elite Series pros, and they were trying out some new gear and trying to catch 10-pound bass, things like that. I'd never been down there, and when I picture Florida, if you just said the word Florida, the first thing I think of is, sunny beaches and, Miami and, whatever. I think of like nightlife, right? I don't think of alligators and Spanish moss. And we were in North Florida, and it was awesome. Like, it was so much better than I had expected. And I just think Florida, in the last couple of years, I think my opinion on Florida has changed a little bit for a few different reasons. But I just think, I think a turkey hunt down there would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience. Having only hunted the Midwest and primarily for Easterns, we did go after Miriam's one time in Nebraska, but everything's been in the Midwest for turkeys. So you're used to that early spring feel. It's just starting to green up. It's got the certain smells and the certain feel to it, right? And then to go down to Florida, and as the sun comes up, you're seeing palm trees and Spanish moss.
Yeah.
And just the whole look and feel. When you're checking your blind for rattlesnakes before you go in, it feels different, absolutely. But it was a ton of fun. Unfortunately, on my Osceola hunt, the bird didn't give us much show. He kind of snuck in quietly. I think we had 5 or 6 hens already in the food plot, and he just snuck in and just quietly walked in until he hit the decoys. He never really fanned out fully, never really made any noise, didn't put on much of a show. But, I was only going to be hunting for 2 days, and this was my opportunity. So I didn't delay on pulling the trigger with that 410.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just got to get it done. The bird I shot last year, I filmed the whole thing. It's going to air on Prairie Sportsman, and when it came down to go time, it was like, do I shoot this bird or do I try to film it? And it was like, sorry audience, you don't see me shoot it, you see me after I shoot it, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Osceola, are they smaller than Easterns?
Yeah, they're a little bit smaller, absolutely. And one interesting thing about the one that I shot, the beard was short for how big the bird was. And at the bottom of the beard was kind of this orange color. And they said that was beard rot, that some turkeys have been having beard rot, and the beard actually rots and is a little bit shorter than what it should be.
I'd never heard of that before. Huh.
Does he get it? We're watching the turkey hunt right now. Oh, look at the balance and the strength in those legs. I had to be very careful there. I had to be very careful because I had to get up in order to shoot, and that turkey's right there. You start to make that movement. They can perk up and see it pretty quick and get out of there. And I'm shooting a 410 here, so I didn't want to have to try to make a running shot. I could maybe shoot out to 40 yards, but I'm not going to push it with that 410. Yeah,
that's a poke for sure. That's awesome. Their eyesight is amazing. That's cool. That's pretty good footage right there. That's great. Now, is that something you'd wanted to do for a while? Go down to Florida?
Yes. I mean, it wasn't necessarily high on my bucket list, but I breed dogs. I breed Klein Munsterlanders. I sold a pup to a guy down in South Florida, and he invited me on this hunt. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's do it.
Perfect. I don't like the idea of having to check for rattlesnakes. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna turkey hunt down in Missouri and Nebraska and Kansas, and I know it's not quite as snake infested as it is as you get further south, but I don't like them very much. Hopefully they're still a little slow. They haven't quite warmed up yet. Aaron, have you done any? Last time Aaron and I were in Missouri hunting, it was a few years ago. We came across, it was a cool day. I don't remember what the temp was, Aaron, but we came across a Pygmy Rattlesnake.
Oh. Well, I came face to face with it, actually.
Oh, boy.
I was looking for some sign on the side of those steep hills in that part of the country, and I was like, oh, it's just coiled up right there in the leaves.
Oh.
I was literally like that far away from it.
Yeah, I would have had a different reaction. Mine would have been a hair more dramatic.
40, so it was moving pretty slow.
Yeah. Well, I did get to go down, and we filmed some Prairie Sportsman stuff down in southeastern Minnesota on the timber rattlesnakes that Minnesota has, and we got pretty close to them, and they had no care in the world that we were anywhere near them. It was spring, so they were still pretty slow and just trying to get a little bit of sun to warm up, but still, no thanks. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Different world.
Yeah. Aaron, have you done any turkey hunting yet this year?
Well, not this year, I haven't, but I was out scouting this morning with my 9-year-old and 7-year-old. They jumped out of bed at 4:30 this morning so we could get out and try and listen. Of course, it was really windy this morning, so we didn't roost any birds or hear them in the tree, but we did see a few as they started to move around and got a game plan, and I'm pretty excited because it's my 9-year-old's first time going out. We're planning to go out tomorrow, and he's been planning this hunt for the last 2 or 3 months. He's got his clothes set out, his backpack and everything. So when we get done with you guys here, we're going to jump in the truck, go set up a blind and bring the heater out because it's supposed to be 25 degrees tomorrow morning.
Sure. And
get set up. And if the birds cooperate, I should have a pretty happy 9-year-old tomorrow morning.
That's awesome, man. That's way cool. Well, good luck. Isn't it amazing to see the advancements in ammunition and the improvements? And I still shoot a 12 gauge most of the time just because I haven't gone out and bought more guns yet, but the fact that I get ripped on sometimes for using a 12 gauge when I pheasant hunt, and especially using 3 shots and a semi-auto for pheasant hunt, I get ripped on it once in a while. It's like, I shot a lot of pheasants with my 3rd shot because I don't always hit them with my first one. So but I've definitely considered going to at least a 20 for upland hunting, and I wouldn't mind going to maybe even like a 28 or something like that. But the popularity of the 410 for turkey hunting, 10 years ago, and maybe I just wasn't living in the right world, but thinking about using a 410 and how popular it's become for turkey hunting, I would have said you're crazy 10 years ago.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't have thought about it until like brands like Federal started making 410 turkey ammo with their tungsten super shot, the TSS. I know we've shot TSS turkey rounds at clays. I don't know if you saw that video. We ended up shooting a clay at 180 yards with this stuff.
What?
Amazing stuff. But yeah, 410 with lead shot, I wouldn't have really ever considered it. But, maybe at very close distances. But that TSS is some good stuff. And I'm going to make a video coming up kind of comparing TSS to lead shot and hopefully educating people a little bit. But I've seen a lot of content out there now just recently, a lot of people using 410s to go after those turkeys.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you bring up a good point about lead shot. What do you guys think about non-toxic and where the future is headed, and particularly for target shooting, because lead is obviously popular for target shooting because it's less expensive, but how do you guys think you'll be affected? I mean, I think all hunting and fishing, for that matter, is going to be all non-toxic soon. What do you think it's going to do to the target shooting world?
Yeah, that's one of those ones where it is interesting, because I'm with you. I think that the hunting world is going that way, right, wrong, or indifferent. But on the target side, it's a volume game, right? Hunting, generally, you don't shoot 10,000 rounds while you're duck hunting a year.
You've never seen me shoot at ducks.
But, we go out there with a pallet of ammunition over the course of a year, and we're just shooting that at targets, and it's already an expensive, between the clays, between the shot, it's an expensive deal. And so that will have I think, pretty big impact on clay shooters if we are pushed to go that way. But I don't know if it will go that way in the near term. What do you think, Aaron?
Well, it's kind of up in the air. I'm with you that hunting and fishing is definitely going that way. Obviously, we want to do the best we can for the environment, but at what costs to some extent too, especially in the sports shooting world, where, the Second Amendment, shooting sports, all of those things have seen tremendous growth over the last number of years. Here in Minnesota with the high school trap league. And honestly, I don't want to see a bunch of kids that are learning to love the shooting sports and get into hunting not be able to afford it. And it's already a fairly expensive hobby. When we break it down. And so I look at it like that, and I want more kids to have the opportunity to shoot sporting clays or trap and do that stuff. So that's one of the things that, it's like, I really don't want the target ammunition to go that route for that specific case, just because I want to see those kids be able to get out there, as well as adults. There's a lot of young adults that are getting into shooting. And if you double the price of ammunition, even at today's prices, a lot of people are just going to find something else to do. And honestly, there's way too many people that are already, in my opinion, spending too much time on screens, playing games and stuff. And that's just, we want to get them outside. So let's make it affordable for them so they can do that.
Remove as many barriers of entry as possible. And some would argue that the rising costs or the mandating to non-toxic is on purpose to try to make it harder to get the ammunition. I know we filmed a copper bullet demonstration once, copper versus lead for deer hunters. We did a Prairie Sportsman segment on it a couple years ago, and it was pretty interesting to see the difference, just how much fragmentation the lead bullet had versus the copper, and that cost becomes such a big issue. But the one point that they brought up is the more people that demand a non-toxic version, the more manufacturers are going to start developing it, the more they're going to get equipment to make and mass produce it more, and then that's going to bring the costs down. So nobody wants to see it mandated, of course, but the more people use it, theoretically the cost should start coming down at some point. So I think you guys are right. I think it's going to happen in the hunting and fishing world. It will be interesting to see what happens everywhere else. But guys, I really appreciate the time. Gould Brothers, Steve and Aaron Gould. Follow them online. You got the 3 YouTube channels, the Gould Brothers, Target Focus Life, Common Patriot, and of course in Instagram and everywhere else. And then this weekend at Rice Creek for the gun fair with Reed's Gun Fair. What time are you guys going to be doing the exhibition again?
We perform at 1 p.m. each day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is one of the coolest events in the country. If you haven't ever checked it out, just want to highly encourage you to come out. I know the weather's not going to be fantastic, but this is well worth a trip to Rice Creek in Little Falls.
Hey, you got to remember it's Minnesota. That forecast could change completely in the next 4 days.
That's right.
Let's pray. Let's pray.
And it's gun buyers. They can handle a little bit of cold weather.
Yeah.
That's not a big
Tough
deal.
enough.
All right, guys. Good luck with everything. Good luck this weekend, and thanks for being on the show.
Hey, good to see you. Thanks for having us.
852 million acres of public land, 147 million private properties, all in the palm of your hand. The #1 hunting GPS app just got better. With hundreds of custom map layers, 3D and topographic maps, you can easily scout on the road or at home before you go. And now you can get important weather details, CWD detection, and even know what crops have been planted where. Get the most trusted hunting GPS app ever made. OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. Devil's Lake is legendary, and this summer has been legendary for walleyes. Don't miss out. Call Haybale Heights Campground and Resort today to book one of their modern cabins on East Bay. The cabins are furnished with a full bathroom, kitchen, and all the amenities like high-speed internet, and are clean following CDC guidelines. Staying at Haybale Heights gives you full access to a private boat launch, fish cleaning station, and beach area. Learn more at haybaleheights.com. That's haybaleheights.com. Plan your trip to legendary Devil's Lake today. Well, we're getting ready for the fishing opener here in Minnesota, and the governor's fishing opener is kind of different this year. It's not going to be like it was. Well, I don't even know if you can say like last year or the year before. Let's bring Erik Osberg from Otter Tail Lakes Country on right now. Erik, how does it feel to be getting ready for an opener and you don't have to get ready for the governor's fishing opener again?
I was in a meeting this morning and we were talking about, what we need to do as a team and all that stuff. And I'm like, remember last year? Like all the stuff, we had on our plate last year at this time. So totally worth the effort. But yeah, you're right. It's a little bit of a relief to not have that coming, but still anticipating the opener and all its glory.
Well, absolutely. And, you guys had to do it. We've talked about this, but you guys had to get ready for it twice, unlike most communities that do it. But yeah, the fishing opener, and even without that, it's a big deal. It's a big tradition. And of course, Otter Tail County, with all the lakes there and all the resorts there, that's got to be a big deal for you guys up there, no matter what.
It is. There's a few, nervous moments right now because, as you're well aware of, it's been a long winter and right about now is when, they might be putting docks in. A year ago, many resorts were putting docks in about this time. And so we're not quite there yet, but there's, a lot of, when I talk about the resorts here in Otter Tail County, what I think is cool about them is they're mom and pop resorts. These are locally owned and operated resorts. There are some larger, not necessarily chain lodging options, but I think the cool thing about the resorts around here is the owners play such a huge role, and they do a really good job of getting the places ready and being as accommodating as they can when people arrive.
So how do you determine, like, if I want to book a trip to Otter Tail County and with all the different lakes and all the different resorts, and I don't know, maybe I'm looking for a fishing trip, or maybe I'm just looking to bring the family and I got a couple of young kids. How do you determine where to go?
Well, a good place to start, and not to sound like a salesman, but our website, ottertaillakescountry.com, we've got various resorts broken down, whether it's a resort or a bed and breakfast or a hotel or a motel. And so we've kind of broken some of the resorts or lodging options down that way. But you're right. There's different. Each place is unique and has its own strengths. And so some resorts are first and foremost a fishing resort. Like when I think of fishing, I think of Otter Tail Lake. And so you've got a place like Holly's Resort. You've got a place like Barkey's Resort. You've got a place like Vacation Land Resort. And they're really there to help you fish Otter Tail Lake. Now, they're not going to take you out, or but they've got the docks, they've got the lift systems, they've got the fish cleaning shacks and things like that. So step number one, to your point, is decide what type of vacation you're looking for. Maybe I'm looking for just a family getaway, right? Like I want to fish while I'm there, but it's not the primary reason I'm there. And so you've got places like East Silent Resort or Fair Hills Resort. There you go. Fair Hills Resort, which is on Pelican Lake. And these are really designed for that fun activity, so much stuff to do, you're never going to be bored type of thing. Another lake that's becoming more and more popular, at least from my perspective, is Dead Lake. And so you've got resort like Sunset Bay Resort and Northern Lights Resort. And I believe you stayed at Sunset Bay, did you not? Or did you stay at Northern Lights?
No, I stayed at Sunset Bay, and it was a great place. The owners, great people, beautiful beach. Let me have my dogs there, and had a great time there, actually.
And that's another good question that you bring up is, are the resorts pet friendly? Some are and some are not. So as you're beginning your search, what I would do is I'd be like, all right, what's our primary goal? What's our primary activity we want during the day? Is it just lounging on the beach and hanging out and having a beverage? Or is it being out in a boat and catching fish? Am I going to bring my dogs? Am I going to bring my kids? If that's a choice you get to make. What do I want to do other than that? Do I want to be close to golf courses? There's all sorts of factors. Or am I just looking for a bed, right? Like, do I just want a place to lay my head at night and recharge my batteries and go hit a different lake? And there's not that this is just what they offer, but there's there's a place like Battle Lake Inn in Battle Lake. It's kind of more of a motel setting, but they accommodate anglers. They have a really nice fish cleaning shack, plenty of good parking, so you can bring your boat and trailer. I think of Grand Stay in Parker's Prairie. You get that I don't know how to describe it, but you get that modern hotel vibe, right? Like they got a nice pool, they've got a hot tub, they've got lots of places to plug in your boat. And so if you're looking for, if you don't want to stick with Google, if you go to our website, we've got all of our members are listed, and you can kind of read up on them and just try to make your choices based on what type of vacation or what type of experience you're looking for. I will say this, summer, it doesn't feel like summer's close, but summer is close. And what you'll find is...
Lies.
What's that?
Lies.
Lies. What you'll find is that these places book up early. And so, if you're looking for a mid-July vacation, that might be challenging. But if you look at those shoulder seasons, if you look at, the opener, the last couple of weeks in May, or you start looking later in this, if you can do it after Labor Day, that helps too. So if you haven't started looking by now, start looking, because it was busy last summer, and I don't anticipate it's going to be any less busy.
Well, and I think not only is it important for you to find what you're going to be the most comfortable at, but I think it's almost your responsibility to make sure you go to the right place and you're not cleaning fish in your hotel bathroom, which is not advisable and generally against most hotel policies. But what's going to end up happening is if you do that, or if you bring your dog and you end up sneaking it into a non-dog or non-pet friendly hotel or cabin or something like that, you're going to make that place have to make the tough decision to put more restrictions, because it's going to cost them more to clean up afterwards, or you're going to ruin some plumbing, or something's going to happen and it's going to ruin it for the next guest that wants to stay there. So people have some responsibility to act accordingly and choose the right places for where they want to go and what they want to do.
Yeah, and that's another really good point. And there's, I don't know how to describe it. There's me going with my buddies, and we're going to stay up late, and we're going to, burn the midnight oil vacations. And then there's me with my wife and kids, and we're I don't know if we're going to go to bed early, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's different vibes that you might be looking for, and most of the resorts that are around here, I would describe them as family friendly resorts. There's parents with their kids or grandparents with their kids. I will say this. I mentioned this place before, Fair Hills Resort. It's a if you're looking for an all-inclusive, like, I don't know how to describe their facility. They've got golf course, they got tennis, it's all-inclusive. The meals, they take care of everything. So there's that type of it's just a really unique. They do a thing called a hootenanny, where everybody goes. There's a water slide. You see that picture of that guy on the slide there? So they take out this plastic. They have a lot of organized activities, and so it's a really cool place. They also own and operate a place called Five Lakes Resort, and Five Lakes is a non-motorized boat or a non-motorized lake. So if you go to Five Lakes, it's private. It's completely private. You get a boat with an electric trolling motor, but again, there's a case where do some research. I can't believe I just said do your own research, but do
you have a homework assignment.
Yeah, do some due diligence, and Five Lakes Resort, you wouldn't want to show up with your boat in tow, expecting it to put on your dock when in fact it's not a motor. You can't have a motor on that lake. But yeah, there's lots of places to stay in Otter Tail County. We better fix that YouTube link. There's lots of places to stay in Otter Tail County, and just head to our website and look around. And if you're having trouble, give me a call, shoot me an email, and I'll offer what advice I can.
All right. Well, I was just going to say, what should people do if they want to learn more about Otter Tail County? But I think you just kind of said it. Go to the website.
Yeah, go to OtterTailLakesCountry.com. That's the place to start. My cell phone number is 218-639-3130. It's better to text me first, because I don't know about you, Bret, but I get a lot of phone calls. I don't know who they are. If I don't recognize the number, I don't always answer.
I don't.
So shoot me a text and say, hey, this is Bob or Sue, and I have a question about a resort, and then I'll be sure to call you right back. I do answer my phone. Just saying. It increases the likelihood if you shoot me a text first.
Yeah, I'm the same way. All right, Erik Osberg, Otter Tail Lakes Country, thanks for the time today on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Did you know there are more than 1,000 lakes in Otter Tail County?
Yep, and I'm going to fish as many as I can. I'm an outdoorsy otter. Nothing beats a full day of fishing for me. The lakes of Otter Tail County give me plenty of options to lower my boat and snag the perfect catch. Not an outdoorsy otter? No problem. Otter Tail County has something for everyone. You just need to find your inner otter.
To find your inner otter, go to OtterTailLakesCountry.com.
Well, time once again to head up to Lake of the Woods to check in with Joe Henry from Lake of the Woods Tourism. Joe, how's it going?
Good morning. Doing good.
So my dad has got a trip planned with a bunch of his buddies, and they're going up in early June, and he calls me the other day and goes, hey, do you think you could ask Joe Henry to mark some spots on a map for us for early June spots on Lake of the Woods? How often do you get questions like that, Joe?
Oh, occasionally, but I have to tell you that Midwest Outdoors, I do some writing for Midwest Outdoors and other magazines also, out of fairness, and they've asked me to mark up maps lately too. So recently I've marked up in their magazine, I marked up the Northwest Angle last year. I just did the Rainy River for the spring bite for walleyes and sturgeon. And now in an upcoming issue, I'll be marking an area of the South Shore. So I think
perfect.
That area your dad's going to be fishing, I'm going to be marking that up anyway. So I'm happy to share it with him.
Excellent. Well, he'll be happy to hear that. He's going up. It's of course it'll be a couple of weeks after the opener, maybe about a month maybe after the opener. I can't believe how close to the fishing opener we are right now, Joe.
It's coming up quick, and the Minnesota fishing opener is like a holiday for people that fish in Minnesota, and that's when the walleye and pike season open for most of the state. Up at Lake of the Woods, obviously we enjoy that late spring walleye season that goes through April 14th. So we've had a little bit longer to fish, but then it still closes for that month and then opens up on May 14th. Our pike season goes year round, so that's always open. But, it's in the opening of the walleye season, and it's like a darn holiday. It's a celebration. I'll tell you what, Brett, I know from just talking to lots and lots of people that everybody just assumes that things are so, busy and filled up at Lake of the Woods. And truth of the matter is that, that early time, there's plenty of lodging, and there's even charter boats available and things like that up at Lake of the Woods. I think what it is, people, almost like the 4th of July, people have their own traditions already for the opener, and then they go travel to the destinations that they want to go fishing at. But I think a lot of people have their traditions close to home. I think that some people maybe don't like coming up to Lake of the Woods in mid-May because, it can be cold. You never know what you're going to get. It could be 70 or it could be 40, and you just never know. But the point of the matter is, the walleyes are going to be close to shore. They're going to be hungry after that spawn, and it's going to be a jig bite. And that's one thing we do know. There'll be a lot of fish being caught.
I think you're right about traditions, but I'll tell you what, after a couple of years of COVID, I know our family traditions definitely changed, and we turned Lake of the Woods into a new tradition for us. And we were just having a conversation. We were with some buddies trying to plan another trip to throw on the calendar each year. And we were talking about Lake of the Woods, and it was like me and Dan are just like, why would we go? I mean, there are some other great lakes, and we definitely do go to some other places, but our first choice is always like, why don't we go to Lake of the Woods? I mean, why would we think about going somewhere else first anyway?
Well, out of respect, there are really other really good lakes. Absolutely. But I'll say this, probably, when I was still in college, I'd gone up to Lake of the Woods ice fishing for the first time ever. And, after going up there a couple of times ice fishing, I said to myself, if I'm going to take the time off, if I'm going to pack up my car, if I'm going to spend money on lodging, why not go to a destination? If I can drive just a couple of more hours, why not go to a destination that, man, I can catch very consistent walleyes and bonus saugers. I always have a chance at a monster, plus the other species that I'll catch, even if I'm not fishing for them. The big pike and the big smallmouth bass, and then ice fishing eel pout. It just made sense to me to go up there. Plus, I was really kind of intrigued by the lodging. I'd bring friends and family up there, and heck, we'd stay at a different resort every time we'd go up on purpose because, every resort, you might have one resort that's on the Rainy River. You have another that's on the south shore of the big lake. You got up the northwest angle where you're amongst the 14,552 islands. Every area is so different. Yeah. Every resort has its own ambiance, its own culture, its own menu. Heck, some of them don't even have bars and restaurants. And we would bring all of our own stuff up and have family fish fries. And it just, the area has a lot to offer. And obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but this was well before I was tourism director.
Sure.
That was kind of my go-to destination. And then I'll tell you what happened is the open water kind of intimidated me, honestly, back then. And I started fishing the Minnesota Tournament Trail Walleye Tournament, and they not only have a regular season fishing tournament up there, but they also have their championship in September up at Lake of the Woods. So I was forced to fish the big open water, and obviously I have a big walleye boat, but even with that, it was intimidating at first. And it's like walk before you run. I started fishing spots that were a little bit closer to shore, and then as I learned how to handle bigger water, then I started going out offshore. And pretty soon, now I've been all over the lake. And
it helps if you have a bigger boat. I know that much. You don't always need it. I've taken my smaller boat on calm days out there, and of course you can fish the river too, which is kind of nice. But Joe, I know this year for fishing opener, little people, especially in the northern part of the state, are a little bit worried about how much open water there's going to be.
Well, yeah, and I understand that, and it's that way every once in a while, right? It's not that uncommon in the northern part of the state to have ice conditions pushing up to the Minnesota fishing opener. I'll say this on Lake of the Woods. Number one, there's already a lot of open water going out into the lake out in front of Pine Island, the Lighthouse Gap where the Rainy River goes in, Bostic Creek, and things like that. You know what? There's going to be places to fish up there. And I'll tell you this, what's going to be kind of cool too is, and of course the angle, there's already a lot of spots open in the angle because there's also current going up there. When you take a look at some of the videos of the Rainy River this last weekend, we have flooding going on. That river is ripping. Well, all that's coming off of a drought. So that is actually kind of, I don't like flooding. I don't want anybody to have to put up with that. But,
right.
That's from all the rain and some of the rivers letting loose and everything else. So the bottom line is this. all that water is pushing through Lake of the Woods. So there at currents going through the lake. There's plenty of open water places to fish by the opener. So you can always find a place to fish. I'll tell you the other thing that's going to be interesting. Having kind of a late spring, the water temp's still going to be cold. There's still going to be a lot of walleyes left in that Rainy River. There'll be a lot of walleyes left in 4 Mile Bay. Those fish are going to be close to shore along that south shore. There'll be a lot of fish that are going to be close coming off the spawn. And I mentioned, and of course, the angle would be the same thing, just fishing off, off some of the islands and off some of the shoreline breaks. But the other thing is it's going to be a jig bite. And you know what? You've done it yourself, Bret. You get out to an area that's just all flat mud typically, and you anchor up and jig over the side with a frozen shiner, and those fish are roaming around looking for food. They're going to find your offering. It's normally very good fishing that time of year.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for open water. I got new electronics this year. I got some new rods and reels. I would like to get a new boat. I don't know if it's going to happen this year or not, but I'm working on it. It's been a crazy spring, I feel like, of course, and when you see flooding like that and you see what's going on with the Red River up there in the northern part of the state, up in the northwest, it's pretty wild. I feel like, though, I will say, Dan, I feel like I've done more open water fishing already this year than I have in years past by this time.
Well, that's because you're spending more time with me. And this is one of my favorite times of year to fish. Like we're going, man. I don't care what it takes. We're going spring fishing.
Yeah.
I'll say this to you guys. It was kind of cool that we had that celebration for Sporting Journal Radio's 50th. Oh, wait, 50th. No, 500th.
Yes, 50th.
Show. Sorry, 500th show up at Lake of the Woods. But, by going spring fishing like that, that kind of forces a person to have their boat ready to roll. Mm-hmm. See, Bret, a little tip on those electronics. You know what? Those electronics will work a lot better if you have both power terminals hooked up and not just one, taken from me.
Yeah, well, watch our 500 show to know what Joe's talking about right there. We fished the Rainy River this year one day without any electronics. We caught fish. We still caught fish.
Well, Bret, I should say, too, what we did then is just that one day, what I did then is I had my phone out and I have Navionics app on my phone, and that got me dialed to the point where we were just fine.
Yeah. So being spring, Joe, I just want to throw this in. You sent us. Did you get the video yet, Dan?
Let's look.
You have the video. You had a nice display of nature nearby recently.
It's funny. Right in my backyard. I'm always looking outside. Last night the dogs started barking because deer are going through, and yesterday, in fact, this morning they're out there again. Sandhill cranes. And there's a pair of sandhills that have been eaten out of some of the bird feeders, and I heard them squawking, so I didn't know if there was a dog barking on them or what. So I went and looked at them, and they're almost doing their mating ritual, where they're squawking and jumping up in the air, and they're kind of doing it to each other. And I was right out my back door, so yeah, just amazing if you're observing what kind of nature happens just right around us.
I think they're neat animals, neat birds, prehistoric, and
aren't they? Didn't you mention to me they're one of the loudest birds?
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if I've got actual documentation on that, but I've been pretty close to them when they've been bellowing, and they're loud. They're definitely real loud. In fact, I just edited a new segment for Prairie Sportsman. I think it's going to air next week. It's a turkey hunt up in northwestern Minnesota, and I was hunting with Corey Loeffler, who uses a crane call as a locator call for turkeys because they'll shock gobble when they hear that big loud crane call. And we were kind of putting the stock on a couple of toms, and there were a pair of cranes in the field just making a racket. We walked pretty close to them, and it was loud. You couldn't really hear much else going on.
Yeah, I'd read somewhere that they're, for all birds, they're very, very loud, and boy, you can hear a mile away, and it's a very, very distinguishable sound too, isn't it? They're cranes.
Yeah, it's neat. And I'm just there where I'm at in kind of southwestern Minnesota. They're just starting to expand into this part of the state. I know there's been a handful around for a long time. There they are right there. Hey, and then, but we're getting them more and more out by Lac Parle out here. That's cool. Look at that.
But it's kind of interesting, and I would assume that's has to do with their mating dance, isn't it?
I would guess. That'd be my guess.
I've never seen him do that in the fall or anything.
No, being that it's a pair like that, unless it's two competing rivals of some sort. But I'd guess that's a.
No, they've been hanging out together.
Yeah, I guess that's.
I'm going.
Amazing.
So I
pair.
doubt they're rivals. They would have eaten each other already.
That's the equivalent of the guy buying the woman dinner and taking her to a movie, I think, right there. And her like, nah, I'm not really interested. Just keeps moving further and further away.
Buy me another dinner.
Yeah.
And then another one.
I'm out of here.
Then another one.
Don't take me to McDonald's. Come on. All right, Joe, if people want to learn more about fishing Lake of the Woods this year, what should they do?
By the way, I assume when you're telling that story, you're having PTSD about your wallet, huh?
Yeah.
So, you know what? If you want to find out more about fishing Lake of the Woods, check out our website, and that is lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
Sporting Journal Radio is a division of Macaba LLC. If you've got a question, comment, or story idea for us, send us an email. Go to sportingjournalradio.com. While you're there, you can learn how to advertise on the show and visit our store for hats, hoodies, coffee mugs, and more. Go to sportingjournalradio.com.